What's your favorite scary movie? Be like, I'm dying.
If some guy came up to me and said, "Hey, they guys," I'm like, "It's over and done. We're married now."
Someone in the movie, so I'm like, kiss. But
oh God, what a sea of humanity.
I do that every time. I don't know why. Hello. How's it going?
good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I haven't seen you in a long time, so this is how we chose to get back together after being apart for several days. But hey, welcome in, everybody.
Welcome in.
Welcome into 52/1994, the live movie conversation podcast, where we discuss movies from the year 1994. I'm your host, Cody, aka Bring the Howard Payne, and I'm joined by my co-host, Alyssa, also known as Annie, the Wildcat.
The Wildcat, yeah.
The Wildcat. And if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome in. We are so happy for you to join us today. Just to give you a little bit of a heads up, we're talking about movies from the year 1994. We've chosen 52 of them, and we watch one every week, and then we talk about it on here. Important movies that are released this year by monthly categories, and we've just started a new monthly category, which is action movies. Lights, camera, action. Get it? It doesn't matter if these movies are good or bad, but we watch them anyway, and a lot of them are typically in the middle. But I'll have my guest host on to talk about the movie with them, and then see if they've been watching or listening to or reading anything lately that maybe they want to mention. So welcome in. We're talking about the movie Speed today. Speed, which is one of the biggest action movies of that year. Have you ever seen this movie, Alyssa?
I have not. As you know, as many movies, I have not seen Speed. I love Keanu Reeves, and that's why I asked to be part of this week's movie in particular, because it's I've seen Keanu in like really weird niche movies, and not his biggest roles. Excellent koozie. So I was like, I gotta see him in like a big role, and it was something.
It was something. Yeah, great. Well, had you ever heard of did you know the premise of this movie before you joined it?
Nothing. Not a thing.
Nothing at all.
Nope.
Well, it's a great way to come into this movie, I'll tell you that. Because this one is a movie, like, you always get those Peter Travers, Rolling Stone reviews where they're like, this is a movie that just won't let up, a roller coaster ride. That is the, best way to describe Speed. It never lets up. I think the slowest part of this movie are the credits or the opening credits.
Oh my God.
We've already got some
going.
We've already got some people talking in the chat. Can we admit that Keanu isn't a great actor, but his kindness and personality make up for it? I don't know if I want to do that.
I mean, is he like the greatest actor to ever live? I wouldn't say that. But I do think his personality has made him like a lifelong love of people. Like, yes. I don't know if he maybe would have fallen off. I mean, he's got John Wick right now, but maybe he would have fallen off after, after the 90s, 80s, 90s. But we won't know. But I like the fact that he can do a lot, because you go from Bill and Ted to, like a John Wick, to doing a, Destination Wedding, which is one of my favorite movies that he's in. And also playing himself in a lot of things, turning down what are they called? The Marvel movies.
Turning down Marvel movies for
turn down Marvel, but he's been in 2 SpongeBob movies. Like,
it's crazy.
That's iconic.
I do recommend, if anybody wants to see Keanu do something besides like action or even like love, romance movies, like I think Sweet November or The Lake House or things like that. Check out some of Keanu's earlier stuff, even before he did Bill and Ted. But check out, things like My Own Private Idaho and what is the one where it's on the River's Edge. Check those movies out because Keanu's a little bit different in there. He's a little bit more of a they're quieter roles, but like he's really, really good at them. And a lot of times people will say like that he's not really good in Dracula because he's kind of got this like California accent and he's supposed to be playing this British guy. And it's not as bad as what everybody sees. And Dracula is a really fun movie, so everybody should check that movie out.
He kind of reminds me of Joseph Gordon-Levitt a little bit, I guess that Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Keanu Reeves could play the same roles, but I don't think Joseph Gordon-Levitt can do action.
He did in Inception a little bit. He's in that room that's like turning upside down. He's got that whole fight scene in there. But I get what you're saying. He's not traditionally an action guy, or he's not your go-to guy for action.
Yeah.
Looper. I forgot about Looper. That's a good movie. Thank you for mentioning that. I forgot all about Looper. But all right, since you haven't seen this movie, and you probably already gave it a little bit, but like first impressions, what were you feeling when you watched this movie?
Stressed.
Stressed.
It was so stressful. I had no idea what I signed up for. And you kept saying, I can't wait for you to watch this movie. And then I got scared, and I had every right to be scared because that was the whole movie.
Yeah, every time. And I had forgotten. It's probably been 20 years at least since I've seen this movie. And I just kept forgetting how much it like stacks on top of each other. Just one thing after another. So, all right, let's break it down a little bit. Let's talk about it a little bit with our friends here and introduce this movie. So the movie title, it's very simply Speed. It came out actually 30 years ago tomorrow. So again, one of those little things of it lining up perfectly. The director is Jan de Bont, and it was written by Graham Yost. The cast stars, I'm not going to name everybody in the cast, but Keanu Reeves as Officer Jack Traven. Dennis Hopper as Howard Payne, Sandra Bullock as Annie Porter, Joe Morton as Lieutenant Herb McMahon. Jeff Daniels is in here as Detective Harry Temple, playing another Harry in this year. And Alan Ruck, want to mention him, give him some love too, as Doug Stevens. Most people know Alan Ruck from either like Spin City or Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So a little fun role for him here. Synopsis that I pulled off of Google says that Los Angeles police officer Jack angers retired bomb squad member Howard Payne by foiling his attempt at taking hostages. In revenge, Payne arms a bus with a bomb that will explode if it drops below 50 miles per hour. With the help of a spunky passenger Annie, Jack and his partner Harry try to save the people in the bus before the bomb goes off, while also trying to figure out how Payne is monitoring them. This movie had a budget of $37.7 million, and it came in with a box office of $350.4 million. And that puts it in line for number 8 of this year. This is a pretty, hefty year with box office grosses, but that one at 8 seems crazy to me. This movie has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 95%.
That's insane. It's not bad, but it's not 95.
95% is crazy. IMDb has this at 7.3 out of 10. Letterboxd has this at a 3.7 out of 5. So, kind of evens out with those, but Rotten Tomatoes, people loved this movie. Roger Ebert gave it 4 out of 4 stars. A perfect movie in his eyes. He said films like Speed belong to the genre I call bruised forearm movies because you're always grabbing the arm of the person sitting next to you. Done wrong, they seem like tired replays of old chase cliches. Done well, they're fun. Done as well as Speed, they generate a kind of manic exhilaration. The director, Jan de Bont, has worked as a cinematographer on many action classics, including Total Recall and Die Hard. Here he shows his own mastery in great entertainment. 4 out of 4 stars. So, wow. And then Desson Thomas, who we've mentioned here many times before, says the plot becomes so overextended as Reeves and Hopper wage their endless public transportation battle. Even the hardest dieharders will consider leaping off way before the final stop. Not too bad. There's a lot of diehard people in here, and it was described as diehard on a bus. So there were a lot of like Die Hard in this situation, Die Hard in that situation. So a lot of that happened after Die Hard came out, but we get a great movie like this one today. This movie was nominated for 3 Academy Awards. It was nominated for Best Editing, and it actually won for Sound and Sound Effects Editing. So a little bit of, we got an Academy Award winner here. It did generate a sequel. However, it did not star Keanu Reeves. It only starred Sandra Bullock, reprising her role. And it is one of the worst sequels of all time. It is sitting at a cool 4% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What a turn.
Yeah.
What a drastic, unfortunate turn of events.
Yeah. It's hard to replicate it when you put it on a cruise ship. Like, there's not enough, like, things, I guess, in the ocean, open water that you're gonna run into. Or
no, they're like, let's do the Titanic but make it action.
Yeah, very strange. I do remember Willem Dafoe being in that movie and like putting leeches on his body. That's all I remember about that movie. So feel free to check it out on your own time. This movie also, went on to like things like Mythbusters, where they were like, hey, let's jump this bus and see if they could actually jump this bus. I didn't write down whether that myth got busted or not, but it seems like they nailed it. So who knows? But let's talk about it. Let's break down these scenes. We got a lot of action in the chat today. That's great. Love seeing everybody in the chat participating, and maybe we'll get to some of those things there. All right, let's talk about some of these scenes that really stick out to you. We'll start with you.
The first scene is the opening elevator bomb. Because we said the opening credits went on forever, but you're in the elevator shaft, and you're learning pretty quickly that there's the hostage situation, that Jack is kind of a loose cannon with being a cop and with bombs in general, and Harry's the brains behind it. It's like the brains and the brawn. And you get the whole pop quiz initial, but you also notice that the bad guy is hiding in the freight elevator. So there's like this whole, you're like learning a lot of information all at once, and it starts you off like, hey, this is going to be stressful from the jump. And like, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, well, they're going to be fine. Like, I know everything's going to be fine, but that does not mean I felt good about it.
I don't know. With those hostages in the first one, when we were watching, I've seen this movie several times, so many times, and I couldn't remember if somebody actually died in the elevator. And somebody even mentioned like that lady that just wouldn't get off the elevator. I thought for sure she died. I'd like trying to remember back when I watched it. I was like, that girl dies definitely. And
that's the worst part. Like if they fell to their death, like, not that that would be any better, but like that would, to me, is less scary or less stressful than having it slowly fall as they're trying to pull people out and not chop someone in half.
Yeah, the chopping in half is the worst part.
That's what I'm like, she's going to get chopped in half. Someone's going to lose a limb, a finger, a hand, a leg, a whole bottom half of the body. That was my assumption the whole time.
And thankfully, we didn't get that. We did lose one guy in that bombing, or in that bomb scenario situation. The guy, you forgot about the security guard that gets shot at the very beginning.
Yes.
So did they. Nobody even called it. Like, they
probably
didn't find that guy's body forever till he didn't call in.
Probably, and they were like, "What's that smell?" Because it was in the building.
Somebody said, isn't there a movie where that happens, where somebody gets cut in half? Maybe is what we're looking for. I don't know, but that stresses me out. Like that.
I feel like I know the movie.
Gotta be like a horror movie, surely. You can't really.
I feel like I feel like it was playing at Overlook one time. Was it there's not like a Final Destination, right?
Oh, maybe it is a Final Destination movie.
I feel like there was a movie playing at
Final
the
Destination 2. Good call. Look
Look
at
at me
you.
having more movie knowledge than Cody.
Damn, I'm out of here, guys. She's gonna host the rest of the show. You guys take it from here. Yeah. So, Final Destination 2 is where we get an elevator scene like that. But we also, like you said, we get the pop quiz hot shot. We get the scenario that Harry gives Jack, and he says like, what do you do? He takes the hostage. He's like, shoot the hostage. It'll cause the guy to let go, and he doesn't want to drag you. And he ends up in that scenario where he actually does shoot Harry.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Yeah, in the thigh, and it was quite close.
Well, quite close, yeah. He could have bled out. You hit the wrong thing there. It's done. You're done.
Yeah. But he lives.
But he lives, and we assume that, the bad guy dies because he blows himself up in the parking garage, and everything's all hunky-dory until it's not.
Until it's not. My next scene is getting the phone call after the bus explosion.
Which is, he calls the payphone, right?
Yeah.
There are no cell phones.
Explodes with people in it, including his friend, the bus driver. And then he's standing there like, what happened? And then he turns around and I was like, of course the payphone is calling at this exact moment. And answers it, and he gets another pop quiz hot shot.
Ooh, such a good moment, though. And Dennis Hopper, I will say, is a villain of the 90s for me. I think I told you that when we were watching this. Like, from playing Koopa in Super Mario Brothers and being just an evil son of a bitch in that, he's such an evil son of a bitch in this, too. And this was actually the first time that I noticed that he had the damage to his hand.
Oh, I didn't even clock that.
Yeah, this is I don't think you do on like the first times you watch this, but yeah, he's got like nubs on on one of his hands.
Makes sense.
He's like this guy. But yeah, excellent villain. And when he gets on the phone with him and says, "Hey, I'm alive. There's a bomb on a bus. Good luck."
And you find out it's a game, like, in a way, which kind of makes this darker in a way.
Mhm.
Like whenever there's a similar to like Saw, like, I mean, it's obviously like horror versus action, but like whenever there's a game element to something scary, it like adds an extra element for me, I guess, because games are supposed to be fun and whatever. And it's just like, oh, this just got fucked up real quick.
Yeah, and you're playing with people's lives, and the only one having fun is the villain in that scenario. Yeah.
Right.
So same way with Saw. I know this is weird that we keep comparing it to like Saw, but you're right. It's just like that game. And Jack has to track down that bus. I feel like he gave him too much information.
Not really. I mean, not. I don't think not.
He told him the bus number, though.
He did. He told him the bus number, and he had to figure it out. But again, it's a game, so he's like, here are the rules, and he did play by the rules throughout the whole movie. Like, it was structured like a game. Mm-hmm. Like, even Jack was like, hey, let me off the bus. That's not in, you didn't say that in the rules earlier. Like, he plays it to him, and then he's like, okay, fine. Like, it's not, I didn't say it earlier. So like, it's not a rule. You can do that, I guess. Like, they keep bringing up the game element to it. Which makes it, I don't know, makes it more stressful to me.
Yeah. Somebody said I'd never give the bus number. I wouldn't give the bus number. No, screw them. Find it out.
I think
stop every bus.
And if you think about it, it is more entertaining for the villain to watch, I feel, to watch Jack have the lives of the people in front of him. Like, watching Jack run around for 3 hours before the bomb goes off. That's not fun for the villain. I don't feel. Like he wants to see the stress and the fear in Jack's face as he looks in the eyes of the people who are about to die. Like there's an element to it, like that he's like, no, I want you on that bus so I can. And again, we find later that there's a camera. He's like, I want to watch you get fucked with in your head.
It's true, and it's more sinister. You're right in that regard, and it makes a lot more sense. Personally, if I were that guy, I'd have been like, all right, whatever. We're just gonna have a bus blow up here again. We already saw one bus get blown up. What's another one? We'll figure it out. We'll get him eventually. I don't need to endanger anybody else, but that's just me. Whatever. I'm a bad guy. So we've got the phone call, and then Jack trying to find the bus, and he eventually does get on the bus, and it hasn't even activated yet. The bomb hasn't activated because the game is it has to go over 50 miles per hour, and that activates the bomb. And if it goes under 50 after that point, it'll blow up. So interesting twist to the movie and getting them on here. Originally, and I know this is jumping on fun facts and stuff, but originally in the script it was supposed to be 20 miles per hour was how it activated, but then going below 20 would have blown the bus up, so they were like, nah, we need to go a little bit faster than that.
The movie's called Speed.
I know.
Like 20 miles per hour is not fast.
Maybe they were just thinking about like residential areas and like a typical bus pickup. They're not going that fast.
Yeah, I guess but buses go on highways, but that would be a way more boring movie, I feel, and a lot more pedestrian nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
But still, like just very. Like I just picture it. It's almost like a retirement home version of Speed.
Now that's an idea. Let's pitch that. Do buses have cruise control? I don't know. I don't know if buses have cruise control. With somebody with a CDL, please get back to us and let us know if buses have cruise control. Surely, right? Mine does not. Okay, cool. So Jack does find the bus and gets on just as soon as it gets activated, maybe? Yeah, I feel like, he just misses it getting activated, and then from that point on, he has to stay on that bus and make sure that the bus keeps going 50 or over 50 miles per hour. Mm-hmm. But we get a couple other things. So I don't want to step on your toes or anything. What is your next scene?
I jumped quite a bit ahead.
Okay, so you didn't even include the bus driver getting shot?
No.
Which is crazy. This random guy has a gun on the bus. Not that a random guy can't have a gun on the bus, but like he just decides, he's like, oh, I'm going off.
Yeah, no, he said LAPD, and this guy's like, he's clearly here to arrest me, as if we would do this high speed solo man chase, or I almost risk my life to jump on a fucking bus for this one dude who probably stole something.
Wow. You're assuming his crime.
I don't know. I was hoping it was less than like murder.
Surely it was less than murder, right?
So he does have a gun.
He does have a gun, and the shot goes off. It shoots Sam in the stomach, I think, or the leg. Yeah, I don't know.
Raised his side. Like, I don't know. Because if he got fully shot in the stomach, I think we would have had a much worse problem.
True.
But
that gives us a lot of stress. We get and the way that Jack gets on this bus is insane. I forgot all about this. He gets in that like Porsche with that random dude who is in the sequel, by the way. That guy is in the sequel. And then the jumps from the Porsche to the bus, and it's crazy. But he has a cell phone at that point, and that's how he gets called by Howard. So
yes, which that
plot hole.
Would you say plot hole?
I said plot hole, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, how did he get this random dude's phone number because he stole that man's car and his phone, and somehow gets a phone call from the bad guy. And I'm like, how?
No idea. I mean, they mess with like UHF frequencies later in the movie and are able to broadcast stuff, but I don't know how he got the man's cell phone number.
No. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a plot hole there. But in this scenario, it was very useful because Jack needs to get Sam off the bus because he's going to die if not. So Howard gives, some grace and allows them to transfer this man going 50 miles per hour next to another not semi, but a truck at 50 miles per hour and are able to get him across the way.
Yep. And that leads to one of the ladies, Helen, to kind of have a moment. Like you just see like the I can't take it anymore on her face and tries to leave with him and meets her demise, unfortunately.
And it gives me one of my favorite lines in the entire movie, which is, I'll go ahead and spoil it because I'll do not fuck with daddy. Do not fuck with daddy. It's great.
Yeah,
and he blows the steps on the bus, and then Helen gets underneath the bus.
Ran over.
She done got runned over. But you know what? If you've ever seen that movie, and props to Helen in Speed, because and that lady, that actress, she always plays like the worst person in a movie. Her name is Beth Grant. If you look up Beth Grant's IMDb, poor lady is just like the worst person in every movie that she's in. She's like if they wanted a Karen in a movie, they cast Beth Grant. She is that person.
She's just got a look.
She's just got a look about her. She's in Donnie Darko. She's a B word in that movie. She's a B word in so many movies. Yeah, everybody go look up her IMDb. Give a shout out to Beth Grant. She knows what she's making money. She's supporting herself.
Mm-hmm.
Good for her. All right. Next scene.
I'm very far ahead. I'm going all the way to the camera. So anything you have.
The jump? You didn't even get the jump in?
No, I just from Jack getting onto the bus to and then getting to the airport is just action nonsense. That it was just
everything just kept happening. They missed a turn. They did get on the highway though. That was nice. So they had a little bit of
area for a little while. They got back on the highway.
Then they realized that the highway that they're on is running out of road, which is insane.
Yeah. It's like the highway's not finished. I literally just kind of went.
She just died. She died.
I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
It's just so stressed out.
These cops, they're doing.
Yeah. And so they have to jump a 50-foot gap, and it's insane. I still don't think it could work, but I'll need to watch that Mythbusters episode to see if they actually could do it realistically.
Bring it let us know.
Yeah, please let us know if people in the chat have seen that Mythbusters episode. Let us know if they could make that jump or not. Harry getting blown up?
I didn't have that either. I only picked 4, man.
That was a bummer for me.
In this movie,
I know they just throw it in there, but you need Harry to get blown up to fuck with Jack even more. So it's a trap set for him at Howard's house, and he just blows up the house with Harry in it and takes out a bunch of other cops too. It was pretty gnarly.
And I will say there was a lot, and we might talk about this later. I'm not someone who ever guesses the plot of movies. Like I am genuinely shocked and surprised. Like I didn't know. Like I don't know anything. I did not know about the kid and the Sixth Sense. He was dead the whole time. Like I had no idea.
Yeah, she found that out this year, or it blew her mind.
But
she was like, "What?"
It kept happening where I'm like, "Oh, like the bomber's a former cop. Oh, Harry's about to be blown up." I'm like, "Harry, probably don't go in the house." I kept like having these moments where I'm like, why am I predicting the movie? I never do that. Like I'm never able to do that. And that kind of, I know there are a lot of eye rolls for me. I mean, I enjoyed the hell out of this movie, but I rolled my eyes a lot.
Yeah.
So
But it was like watching a movie with my father, because that's what he does the entire time I watch a movie. When he just guesses the plot the whole time.
I love being compared to your dad.
Hey, he's not a bad dude. I like him.
He's pretty cool.
He's a pretty cool guy. Okay, so Harry getting blown up. Now we're at the airport.
Yeah, we get to the airport and they're just taking laps. And I think this is when Jack does depart the bus and then gets back on, and in the process punctures a hole in the gas tank. So it's just, and Annie at some point says, "Oh, did you think you needed another challenge?" When she finds out the gas is leaking. And Jack is like racking his brain because he's like, the bomber keeps getting ahead of me. He keeps tracking us. He knows exactly every move we're going to make. How is he doing it? And then he remembers that the bomber called Annie Wildcat at one point for was it Arizona Wildcats?
Because she had the Arizona Wildcats
jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, and recognizes that there is a camera inside of the bus watching their every move. And he's just like, damn. So they hatch a plan to stand very still and record themselves. Which I don't know how any of this works. And I'm just going to have to assume that this is something that is feasible in the world, that they can hack the recording and record it and do a transmitter over a thing. And I was like, sure. And then,
I didn't doubt it.
Yeah, and then the bomber's feed of the video is just them standing there looking upset on loop for a while, and he doesn't notice.
Except for that fucking lady behind him, she gives him away.
Yes, I mean not her fault.
Her fault.
She just moved just a little too much. Which because that does let them have the distraction of getting everybody off of the bus.
Yeah. They get them off, all of them off, except for Keanu and Annie.
Because
Annie's driving, and then they have to figure out a way to get them off the bus. And Keanu's like, let's tie ourselves to this thing and just hold each other.
Like the most unsafe way to have done that. They're like, we're going to sled out the floor of this bus and hope we don't get run over.
Mm-hmm.
And hope that we don't, just rip our skin off. Like, I was like, this doesn't seem like the most efficient way to do this.
It was pretty awesome, though.
Oh, it was baller. And then the bus runs into a plane, which, not a great movie for either of us to watch the week that we both have to get on planes.
And I had to get on a fucking bus this week, too.
A surprise bus.
Yeah, for an hour I was on a bus.
I thought, I genuinely, because the plane was not at the gate, I thought that plane was full, which would have made for a much funnier ending.
Well,
it's the trolley problem. Save the 11 people on the bus to kill the 100 on the airplane.
So, funny fact, I do have a body count. Somebody had mentioned body count earlier. I'm not going to reveal it just now, but this note said that all aircraft that are being towed have at least one person on the flight deck. So at least one guy is in that plane and is dead now.
Yeah. Because
of blowing up that plane.
Yeah. I was like, there's no way. There's no way that is a fully empty plane just sitting there.
Yeah. It's that. Okay. So that's another plot hole thing where I was like, oh, hey, these people just died on this.
That's the trolley problem. I saved 11, but had to kill one I knew the 11 and I didn't know the one.
It's pretty great. There's a video game out there that lets you do the trolley problem and try and figure it out 5 versus 1. And
there's
then
it's kind of like a Cards Against Humanity.
Oh yeah.
And it's this trolley has 7 orphans that are 5 years old, and then this one has a doctor, this one person, and it's a doctor who's going to cure cancer, and you're just like, ooh. The scenarios are so fucked up.
Yeah, no, it's great. The video game I'm talking about, if somebody's played it, is High on Life. There's a trolley problem part of that game, so people, you can check that out. It's very funny, especially the trolley problem part of it. It's very funny. It's done by the same guys that did Rick and Morty, so you can imagine it being good. Okay, so they get off the bus. Everything's good now. We've saved the day. Nobody's harmed. What do you have next?
The subway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everything's cool. Everything's fine. And they think that the bad guy is still unaware that there's a recording, and he figures it out because that lady in the background. So that they're trying to do a stakeout, and it doesn't work. And Annie needs to be a fucking idiot and get herself off of the ambulance and get kidnapped. And in starts a now underground version.
Speed. That's why it's called Speed. No.
Yes, and it just, and again, more chaos ensues. The bad guy straps a bomb to Annie, lures Jack into the subway system, fully plans on blowing her up as collateral damage.
Mm-hmm.
And Keanu has to then beat up the bad guy and decapitate him casually in the subway, and then also realize that they can't make the subway stop. And then the subway just shoots out of the ground.
Yeah, which is insane.
And there's no more track left. I'm like, two times that was it. We didn't have enough highway. Now we don't have enough track. And I'm like,
and it somehow comes out like, I don't know where this is in Hollywood, but right in front of like Grauman's Chinese Theater. I know it's not Grauman's Chinese Theater anymore, but obviously for the look of it, it comes out right there. And I don't know the subway system in LA to confirm any of this, but the fact that it comes out of the ground is insane. It's just the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah, or the fact that shit, I completely lost my train of thought. Darn it. Sorry.
No, you're good.
It just doesn't make any sense. Oh, the infrastructure. This is where my brain goes. I'm like, there's two, first of all, LAPD doesn't know shit in this movie, ACAB. And then,
All cats are beautiful.
All cats are beautiful. And so it's like, oh, surprise, there's no more highway. Oh, surprise, there's no more track. And I'm like, where are my tax dollars going? Do I live in Los Angeles? No. But I'm like, where are these people? And why aren't these things getting built?
Who knows? But they somehow survived that crash by hugging each other against the pole that you hold on to. It's whatever.
It's whatever.
And then they're just kissing the whole time, and then it's great. So, you know, it is what it is. But we get a nice happy ending.
We do.
They're kissing. Seeing two hot people kiss each other after being sweaty and all this stuff. It's it's good for everybody. Steven just confirmed that MythBusters busted the bus jump, so it couldn't happen in real life. Thank you.
Now we know.
Thank you. Now we do that. All right. We've basically went through the entire movie. So who was your favorite character? And did you have a scene stealer to go with that as well?
I picked Annie.
Yeah.
Because I needed her comic relief. I also feel like women don't get to be the comic relief a lot in movies. It's always like the hairy character. And he does have a little bit of that. And Jack, both him and they play off of one another. But Jack needs to be the straight man, and then Annie gets to be the comic relief. And that was a lot of fun to watch. I also have all of my Sandra Bullock movies that I've seen are like Sandra Bullock being a dick, like Miss Congeniality or The Proposal, where she just has a very like stuck up, tight, demeanor. So it was kind of fun to watch her be funny.
Yeah, no, I love Sandra Bullock in this, and I'm glad. And this kind of launches Sandra Bullock into the ether, I guess. We saw her last year. She was in. She kind of played an idiot in Demolition Man, basically a person from the future that doesn't know like what we used to do in the past and everything. But this one really does give her those opportunities. And I think that people saw that and were like, hey, Miss Congeniality. Hey, what else? Other funny movies has she done? She's
I
done a
think
ton of funny movies.
Proposal. Like, I mean, Miss Congeniality and The Proposal are both the same character, really, where it's like this uptight female in a male dominated industry, but also is like very funny and satirical on the side.
Mm-hmm. While You Were Sleeping, that's another one. I think that comes out next year, which is a great romantic comedy that maybe we'll do next year. 2 weeks notice, things like this. Like they see Hope Floats, Practical Magic. These are the kind of movies that she ends up being in the late 90s because of movies, this movie like Speed here. So and then, you know, she ends up winning Oscars down the line for The Blind Side or Gravity and all that stuff. So we'll see if people say what you want about Sandra. She's great. I think she's charming.
I agree.
Is the best way to say.
I'm never like, and this is no shade, I'm never like excited to see Sandra Bullock in a movie. I'm never like, yeah, it's Sandra Bullock. But whenever she's in a movie and I'm like, you know what, she did a good job.
Yeah. I mean, Miss Congeniality's great. It's a fun movie.
I just keep thinking of the dance from.
Oh yeah, that's a good scene. It's a good scene. She's been around forever, and thankfully, because of this movie, she was given those opportunities. So we get Sandy out of this. So that's what all our friends call her, Sandy.
Yes, very close.
I had a tough time picking between Jack and Annie, and kind of because I knew that you were going to pick Annie, I picked Jack because one, I think Keanu Reeves is pretty badass in this movie.
Yes.
One, he's jacked in this movie. He looks awesome. He's got the buzzed head, which the people were pissed about that he shaved his head. They were like, get a sensible haircut. And then he came back with a buzzed head and they were like, no, now we're going to have to delay production because we want your hair to grow out. And they were like, no, I think he looks great. Buzzed head, Keanu.
Yeah, he looks fine. It also makes sense
hot. Hot. Keanu was hot in this movie.
Keanu was hot.
But I don't know. I felt like this was this first time that I saw him as a believable action star, and maybe this is how he gets the Matrix later down a few years later, because of movies like this. So
another one I have.
Great movie. You don't need anything from him, but there's something about Keanu in this that when I was trying to figure out who else could be in this cast, he's got an aw shucks thing about him. He's got a heart of gold cop kind of thing. Even when he is doing the cowboy thing of being a cop and being a hero and all that stuff, there's still some wholesomeness about Keanu Reeves. I don't get it.
It's the yes ma'am, no ma'am.
Yeah. It's exactly that.
Because eventually Annie's like, my name's Annie, call me Annie. Up until then, he's like, ma'am, I need you to drive this bus. He is giving direction in a way that is polite.
And I think this is different than what most people have seen him in up to this point, because most people have seen him in Bill and Ted. You get the whoa, that Keanu that's just, I don't know, cool Keanu. I don't know how to best to describe that, but he's Point Break. He's like a surfer dude, and that's the kind of guy you get. And then we kind of get a little bit more serious, but still with that this guy talks to his mom on the phone every night of the week. That is the Keanu we're getting here. Mm-hmm. And that's what I mean by aw shucks.
Got it.
So I wanted to give some props to my man Keanu for his role as Jack. I think he does fine. And I think once he's went further into his career and doing the John Wicks and things like that, the less he gets to say. He doesn't get any lines or anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, he probably speaks 30 words in John Wick.
Badass.
Total. Yeah, he's that badass. Do you have a scene stealer?
No, Annie was my favorite character scene stealer.
I gave some props to Stevens is the character's name. That was Alan Ruck, the tourist that's on the bus. And I thought he was pretty funny in his limited scenes and stuff. So,
yeah.
At the annoying, yeah,
He annoyed me. Yeah. I was
yeah.
like, shut up. We're gonna die.
I love him. I love Cameron. That's how I always think of him. All right, let's go to some quotes. What are some of your favorite quotes from this movie?
Okay, so
Look at them
I-
nails.
oh, thank you. I wrote pop quiz hot shot. I didn't put the whole quote from Pain. But I didn't know if you had it, but I thought just pop quiz hot shot is like a great little phrase to pull out.
Yeah. No, that's great.
And I only really pulled like funny ones. When Jack and Payne are on the roof of the subway fighting, and he's about to, Howard thinks he's going to kill Jack, and he says, "I'm smarter than you, Jack. I'm smarter. I'm smarter." As he immediately gets decapitated, and then Jack goes, "Yeah, well, I'm taller." And that's like his big comeback line after murdering the bad guy. I'm like, men in their height, they love it. I was like, it was 94-24. It's the
Don't
same.
you question it. I'm 6 feet tall, I promise.
You are 6 feet tall. You are confirmed.
Confirmed. You hear
Confirmed.
that, internet?
I have the line when Jack steals the car. I say, "Hey man, this is my car. I own this car. It's not stolen." And Jack pulls out his gun, points it at the guy, and he goes, "It is now. Move over." Which I thought was like, that is awesome.
That's pretty great.
And I got one more, and it's probably one that you have. It's the ending. Jack and Annie. And it's a callback from something Annie said earlier, but he says, "I have to warn you, I've heard relationships based on intense experiences never work." Annie says, we'll have to base it on sex then." And Jack says, "Whatever you say, ma'am." So back to that ma'am thing.
See, he's still so kind and horny.
Yeah, and that was like I will say a jarring line. Like, this movie was non-sexual. Like they're flirting, or you can tell they like each other because he's saving the day and she's helping him, and it's all good. And then she goes, "I guess we gotta bang then." And I was like, where did that come from? I was like, not expecting that. I will say, fun fact, this is outside of the movie, but that is correct. That there's a phenomenon in psychology that they've done this experiment several times where they put people in intense situations, but as they meet somebody, and those people start off really hot and heavy, and they also think that they like each other more. So they'll have to like walk across a rickety bridge and then go on their date, as opposed to going on a date. And they'll like report afterwards, "Oh, we have such great chemistry," and it's just because your heart rate's accelerated. So if you want to like somebody, if you want them to like you, take them on a roller coaster on their first date.
Or you take them out in the middle of the ocean. You take them out on a boat in the middle of the ocean.
Or like Annie in Speed 2.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was. Not like Dennis in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which that was really just for a couple people in chat that know about. It's about the implication. My favorite line from all of Speed is after they hit the after the bus hits the stroller, and Keanu looks back and goes, "Cans. It's just cans." It's the best line in the entire movie.
The way he says it, he was just like,
"Cans."
I'm like, sir.
It's the longest cans ever. Cans.
Yeah, he's got like
Just cans.
weird.
I love that line so much. It makes me laugh really hard. At the beginning of the movie, when Harry is they're accepting their awards, Harry says, "You shot me. I can't believe it. They're giving you a medal for shooting me, you little prick." I thought that was pretty good.
Harry-
Another great Harry line is, "I'm going to go home and have some sex." And Jack says, "Harry, you're going to go home and puke." And he says, "That'll be fun too." Mac always says, "Don't get dead" to them. He says it like 3 or 4 times in the movie. And Stevens, my favorite Stevens line is, "We're at the airport." And the guy goes, "Yeah, so?" He's like, "I've already seen the airport."
It's like, sir, you're gonna die.
All right, biggest laugh, cry, scare, or thrill?
I had well,
Yeah.
I had the biggest thrill was the entire movie.
Okay.
I was stressed from moment one till the end. I'm like, just like my heart, I felt like I ran a marathon after watching the movie. So the whole thing was the thrill, especially jumping the highway. But my biggest laugh is that the bomber was casually a feminist. At the end, when he gets Annie into the subway and he has the bomb strapped on her, he's like trying to calm her down. He goes, "You're hysterical, not because you're a woman."
Because you have a bomb strapped to
Because
you.
you have a bomb strapped to you, which is like very funny. And then he's like, "It's not gonna hurt Annie." Like he's genuinely trying to calm her down as if this is gonna work. And which also kind of speaks to his insanity a little bit, but I'm like, oh, he's just like, "Not because you're a woman." Like
Go off, feminist king.
I was like, that was so unexpected. And I just laughed very hard at that moment. I was like, we love a feminist king.
We love a feminist king. We stand a feminist king here.
Wild.
Anything else on the biggest laugh, cry, scares, or thrills?
Though I said, well, the thrill being the whole movie. I mean,
Yeah.
And I would not really scare. I'll get to my what the fuck moment in a moment.
Okay, I've got a couple of those. The part where Annie sits down next to Stevens in the beginning of the movie and he starts talking to her and she's like, "Oh, there's gum on my seat." Gum, and she had pulled it out of her mouth and just to get it. I thought that was probably one of the funnier parts of the movie and improvised by Sandra Bullock, so love that. And then also when Annie's driving the bus and I think it's Ortiz or somebody that comes up to the bus, she's like, "Get your ass behind the yellow line."
Yes.
Like
as if everyone isn't as if this bus has been adhering to rules this entire time.
When the first bum goes off, that could be like a little bit of a scare. And then my biggest thrill is the people getting off the elevator. Like that's just a nightmare that I've probably had several times in my life of being cut off by an elevator. So, all right, let's talk about what the fuck moments because there are a lot of them in this movie.
Well, we talked about the
stroller.
No, I just wrote the cans in all caps in my notes. I was furious. I was like, this movie is already so stressful. You do not need to think you're hitting a baby. When they just hit the stroller and it explodes cans, I was so mad. I agree. And he's like, "It's just cans."
It's just cans.
And Annie is about to have a full-blown mental breakdown. And I'm like, that was unnecessary.
I think she's the only one in the movie that actually is like reacting appropriately.
Yes. I mean, she is like, like clearly her defense mechanism is humor. But like at one point, like I think at the end when everything's cleared and like they get off the bus, Keanu's like, "Are you okay?" And she just says, "No," and starts crying. I was like, yes, that is an appropriate reaction to everything that just went down. You were in fight or flight. You got into fight mode. Your body's having a moment to settle down. And now it's time to freak. Now it's time to cry.
Yeah. No, she's the only one that's appropriately reacting. Definitely. Sorry, I stepped on your toes. What else you got?
No, that was it. Just the cans.
Okay.
Number one. It's not the inconsistencies, but the plot holes. Like, how did he get the cell phone number and stuff like that?
Okay, so speaking of that, like the curves and the jump, really bug me. Like anytime that they're taking curves or anything like that, surely they are going below 50 miles per hour. Like they have to be going below 50 miles per hour numerous times. There's no way that they can navigate those neighborhoods that they were going through, especially at the beginning, and taking some of the curves that they were taking.
Also, the amount of damage that this created, like it felt, it's something that you see in all superhero movies a lot, of course, and action movies too. But it's just like, in order to save the day, the superhero has to like destroy half the town. That was like one of the parts of the plot in The Incredibles. But I'm like, how many? I'm like, the cars who are getting hit, those people are going to have to file insurance. They probably have whiplash. If they are not injured, like the amount of people who got injured because of the bus it was a lot.
It's yeah, like there's no telling if people actually would have done. Like they hit some people pretty hard.
Yeah.
So there's some people that are dead that we didn't get credit for.
Yes.
Also, the opening credits was the biggest what the fuck to me because it lasted so freaking long. I swear, like we were sitting there and it just kept going.
It felt like an old movie, like
Yeah,
like
just-
that, because that's where the credits were. The credits used to be in the beginning of the movie, and Monty
It's like
Python.
Star Wars.
Like Monty Python's obviously a joke, like
Mhm.
that it goes on for so long. It's like a 15-minute credit intro, but I was just like, damn, we are still going down the elevator.
Yeah, the title card, everything was ridiculous. It going slow. It was just so slow. For a movie called Speed, the credits were so slow in that elevator shaft. And I get the point of doing it. And the guy said that he did it because of movies like Die Hard. And obviously, the first scene takes place in that elevator shaft. But, like, Jesus, like, that was too much.
Too much.
Just let's get to it. Let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I can even take old credits that you don't even see any of the action. The fact that you put me in the elevator shaft might have pissed me off more.
Yes.
So, sorry, I'm angry about that. All right, best music moment or score recognition.
I didn't have one.
That's fine. I do want to recognize though the title song of this movie, Speed by Billy Idol. I almost said Billy Eyelash. But yeah, Speed by Billy Idol, great song. It only happens in the credits, the end credits. Do check that out. It is included on the social media post that I made for this. But I did want to talk about Mark Mancina a little bit because I really like the score of this movie. I don't think it gets enough credit for the score for this movie. And Mark Mancina, who did the score, is probably best known for working alongside Hans Zimmer, who, of course, big time score dude. But he did a lot of stuff on his own, even though he did help out with like Lion King and True Romance. He did Speed on his own. He did movies like Bad Boys. I kind of think of him as like Bad Boys and Twister and some of these action Con Air. He worked with like I got very Con Air vibes when I was watching this movie. So give a shout out to little Mark Mancina.
I will say, I mean, the music did what it was supposed to do. I think the reason I didn't have one is because I was just so stressed out the entire movie that like it didn't even register because it just fit so well into the experience.
Yeah. And that's I think that's good. Like I think yeah, just like a horror movie, it leads you into that suspense. So good job, Mark Mancina. All right, fun facts that you wrote down. I know we've already talked about a couple on our own.
We probably have the same because IMDb did not have a lot. You said the gum was improvised. Sandra Bullock did learn how to drive a bus for the role. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, badass.
And this was one that I thought was really fun. A 20th Century Fox producer realized they might have a hit movie on their hands when he noticed that during test screenings, audience members would walk backwards when they needed to go to the bathroom so they would miss as little as possible. I was like, I don't know how you made that correlation, but I dig it.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Walk backwards, try to go to the bathroom.
Anything else?
What do you got?
I've got, so when Keanu is trying to stop the bus and he pounds on the door and breaks the glass, that was an accident. That wasn't meant to happen, but the director liked it so much that he kept it in the final movie, which was pretty cool to me.
That is awesome.
The movie filming ran out of money before it was completed.
I didn't know.
But when they first previewed it for an audience, the subway scenes were animated storyboards, but the audience loved the movie so much, and even those animated scenes, the studio came up with the money to shoot those scenes properly.
Well, they got their
yeah. Keanu and Jeff Daniels trained with real SWAT personnel to perfect their movements, so they actually look like cops. Keanu Reeves did 90% of his own stunts.
That's awesome.
Quentin Tarantino, that we talk about a lot on here, named this as one of his favorite movies since the year 1992. One of his 20 favorite movies.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty crazy. What was that?
I don't know. I think that's surprising.
Yeah. Somebody that's near and dear to my heart that is, I believe, canceled. Joss Whedon, who is known for creating television shows like Buffy and Angel, and Firefly and all those. He actually rewrote this script uncredited. So all of the dialogue was written in this movie mostly by Joss Whedon. So thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
The body count for this movie technically is 14. And I say technically because we counted all the 13, but with the idea that all aircraft being towed have at least one person on the flight deck, that person is dead. So 14 people in this movie. It does seem low. Why did Joss Whedon get canceled? Because he said that he was a feminist for years and years and years and years and years, and treated the women on his shows like shit. And also like had a weird relationship with a girl and like gaslit her a little bit. It was, you can look it up.
You could probably Google it.
Yeah, you can Google it. It's nothing like not the worst cancellation, the things that we've canceled people before. He's no Harvey Weinstein. He's not great, but he's no Harvey. So yeah, feel free to look that up. And then my final one that I had was that the producers paid the owners of Howard Payne's house $5,000 to blow it up. And then they also rebuilt it for them after filming. Seems low, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they rebuilt their house.
You rebuild it from scratch. Like, hey, we will how long that's gonna put you out for a while.
Yeah.
$5,000. I mean, what's $5,000 in 1994 if someone wants to do that math?
Oh, yeah, that's probably 10,000 then.
But still, that seems low.
Well, I've seen them build houses in less than 45 minutes on Extreme Home Makeover. So
True.
I
feel like we could have built a set for that. Like, why did you bomb an actual house?
2 or 3 billion. Move that bus. Okay. All right, let's do some recasting for this though.
I actually, for the first time ever, have a 1994 recast.
I love it. Please hit me with it.
It's barely a recast. I want to switch Keanu and Sandra's roles.
Okay.
I want Sandra to be the cop, and I want Keanu to be Annie.
You think that she could do it?
I think it would be. I mean, as I always say, again, Miss Congeniality is what I know her in. She's
never. Heat. Have you ever seen The Heat?
No, I have not.
The Heat is very funny. Her and Melissa McCarthy are cops.
But very like, I wouldn't actually recast this movie. Like, I think they're fine. Like I think I wouldn't like think of any other actors, and I wouldn't actually want them to switch. But I do think that would be very fun.
The only people I could think of around this age and might have like pulled it off are like Will Smith or Brad Pitt. And I feel like Will Smith and Keanu get thrown into, because Will Smith was actually supposed to be Neo in The Matrix, and he was like, nah, I don't want to do it. So Will Smith was who I thought of. For Sandra Bullock's role, I was trying to think of people like that could pull off the funny thing. I thought maybe Jennifer Lopez at this time, like she would have been a couple years away from Selena, but she might have been good in that role. Jennifer Aniston, maybe. They give me similar vibes sometimes. And then Téa Leoni, who is a year away from Bad Boys, but Téa Leoni, I think, kind of fits that. But I think they're perfectly cast. I think the chemistry between Keanu and Sandra Bullock is great and is there, and you fully believe that they want to bang each other at the end of this movie.
Agreed.
With as little romance as possible. I had Julia Roberts on my list, but then I was like, nah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Too many teeth. I know what bus you rode last summer. And then for the bad guy, I thought like Michael Douglas or John Malkovich could fit into that. And the only reason I said Michael Douglas was because of the movie we did called Falling Down last year. And Michael Douglas was kind of like screwed by the system. And takes it out on society. All right, do you have any 2024 recasts?
I have a couple. I'm not really in love with them. I had Tom Holland for Jack. I
Okay.
was trying to think of, because they're like, Jack is supposed to be 24, right? Like he's supposed to be like mid 20s, fresh into the force. So it was hard. I didn't really have a lot of like a list of guys, but I was like, he does Spider-Man. He's done like, I think he could do the action. I think that'd be fun to watch. Again, we love a short king. So I put Tom Holland as Jack. Annie, I had Stephanie Shu, because I put Stephanie Shu in everything.
Yeah.
Anna Kendrick, because Anna Kendrick gives me like Sandra Bullock as Annie vibes. But again, older, like, so I didn't want to put her in the role. Harry, I made Michael B. Jordan, because again, haven't put him in anything in a minute, but I like to.
Yeah.
Harry needs to be a little older than Jack, but still needs to do the, like, you know, have the knowledge about the bombs and still do the actiony stuff. And I was like, he could do it. And then for Howard Payne, I put Keanu. I love bringing back somebody from the original movie. So making him the bad guy would be a lot of fun.
Somebody says, have we seen Tom Holland with a buzz cut? I think he has a buzz cut in the movie's called like Cherry, I believe is what it is called. It's on Apple, I think. So if you want to see him with a buzz cut. For Keanu's role, I again tried to go with like some aw shucks guys, but that could also do like some action and be believable in action. But I really liked this and think this guy is he needs the right role. Manny Jacinto, who plays Jason Mendoza from The Good Place. And yes, any excuse for me to mention The Good Place. But no. he was in that romantic comedy with Charlie Day and all those a couple years ago. And that dude is hot. That guy's a hot man. But like with his haircut in The Good Place, he's Keanu, like 2.0.
I would love to see that.
Yeah. I cast this girl in everything whenever I'm doing these, and I do think she gives me Sandra Bullock vibes. Haley Lou Richardson, most notably probably from what is that? The White Lotus. Yeah, she gives me those vibes. Whatever. Then for Howard, I said Woody Harrelson or Kevin Bacon as the villain.
I like Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, I think they could both play like psycho ex-cops. That's where I stood, because I went like 30s, and then Sandra Bullock in her 20s, and then somebody in like their 50s or 60s for the villain. So it's tough. It's tough sometimes trying to think of that.
Yeah.
Like a fine wine and dish, if you could pair this movie with another movie for a double feature, what would you choose?
I only have two this time. I picked John Wick.
Okay.
Keanu Reeves doing action things. And the other one I picked is White House Down, which up until this point in my life has been the most stressful movie I've ever seen. It is Jamie Foxx is the president, and Channing Tatum is a like former Navy SEAL situation. The White House is under attack, and Channing Tatum was just like touring with the facilities with his daughter, and he ends up with the president. He has to save him and protect him, and it's similar vibes of one thing after another. The insanity of the plot keeps building. Like it's like, oh, and now there's no more highway, and oh, now we have to hit a can, and like a stroller full of cans, and now we got to do this, and now we got to do that. That's how it, like, the moment it starts to the moment it ends, my heart was in my throat. Like I was like, this is so stressful. In terms of like stressful movies, it was Dunkirk, White House Down, Speed.
Okay.
So, but Dunkirk has nothing to do with this movie. So I thought White House Down still has the action to it.
Dunkirk is pretty stressful, and it is
so stressful.
Always constant too. Somebody in chat says that Olympus Has Fallen is greater than White House Down. I've never seen either series. So
I'm not saying White House Down is good. I'm just saying it's a similar movie.
Yeah. So okay, though you said two, right?
Those were those
White
two.
House Down. Okay. I said the movie Unstoppable, which I had not seen until last couple years. But Unstoppable is like a true story movie about a unmanned locomotive that is roaring like out of control, like it's on the train tracks and it has like a ton of toxic chemicals on it, and it's heading towards a town with a like crazy curve, and they have to stop it. And it's like Denzel Washington and Chris Pine are in that movie. That's I think kind of correlates with the like, okay, we've got something that's out of control. There is no real villain in that except for chemicals and people not being able to drive trains properly, but that's it. No, but Unstoppable is a really good movie. Taking of Pelham 123, another train movie with terrorists and things. That's a good one that somebody just mentioned. And my other one was Con Air. And if you've ever seen Con Air or never seen Con Air, basically some convicts take over an airplane and demand a lot of money, or they're going to crash it or so. Great movie. Great Nicolas Cage, long hair, looking trashy as ever.
Hell yeah.
Amazing. Like him and Keanu I would love to see a Keanu Nicolas Cage movie.
That'd be a great combo.
That'd be a great combo. You're right. Do you have any songs or books or anything that you might have thought of for this movie? That's okay. I didn't think of any. I was like, what song or book could go with this dumbass movie?
I did like just because of the title, I kept thinking of the Speed Racer theme song.
Yeah. Go Speed Racer, go Speed Racer. Speed Racer. That movie is something. A lot of people love that movie though. Some other people are talking about The Negotiator. I think that's Kevin Spacey and Samuel L. Jackson movie. That's a good movie. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. Anything else on movies that you can think of?
No, someone said Highway to the Danger Zone in the chat, and that's incredible.
I don't repeat anything he says in chat. If you could give this movie a rewatchability rating of 1 to 5, what would you give it?
For me, it's a 2. I would rewatch it again because, like you said, there's like little things that I think we miss, like the first time you watch it. Mm-hmm. And if someone was like, "I've never seen it," I'm like, "I'll sit down with you and do it." Like, I'm fine with that, but I am not going to go out of my way to rewatch this.
Yeah, I think I give it a 4. Because one, I've seen this movie so many times, but if it's on TV, I'm down to watch it like a little bit. I almost forgot about that. F, Marry, Kill. It's because I used the wrong copy of my notes from last week. F, Marry, Kill. I don't really have an F, Marry, Kill. It would be Harry, Mac, and Jack.
Is Mac
3 cops. I'm making you choose between 3 cops.
Okay. I'm killing Harry. Because he already dies anyway.
Oh, wow.
I am probably effing Keanu because he's gorgeous and also kind of immature. I don't want to marry him. I'm marrying the head cop for the pension.
I see. That's why I would marry Harry. It's because I don't even have to worry. I can get remarried. I'm getting that pension because he's dead. Okay, somebody's got another F, Marry, Kill. Sandra, Keanu, and the bad guy. I mean, I'm killing the bad guy. That's too easy.
His pension's horrible. That's part of the.
That's true.
Part of the problem.
Fuck, Marry, kill the police.
Jesus. Kill the bad guy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but if you had to choose between, are you marrying Sandra?
Marry Keanu.
Oh.
Because I don't know what Sandra's job is.
Oh yeah, you need a career person.
Also, I think again they're both young. Like they're 24 in this movie, or like that's what their characters age, 24, 26. And I'm like, I don't want to marry either of you. But
yeah. Dang. You gotta have a career, guys. That's what it comes down to. Have a job.
Goals.
Yeah, maybe she's a bus driver. Is she a bus driver? What does she do? She's got a job in the second movie. I'll have to look. Somebody look that up real quick. Don't marry someone whose license is revoked. That's a good point.
Yeah.
They're not driving you. They have to pick you up to go to dates and stuff. That's not fun. I'd love to be. Shut up. She knows how to drive a stick. Okay. Yeah. Well, that was a fun F Mary Kill. An impromptu F Mary Kill. If you had to give this movie an overall star rating of 1 through 5, what do you do?
I gave it a 3. I put it
Yeah.
I put it in the middle of the road. It was fun. It was a good. I get the hype. I understand. I love a Keanu Reeves moment. I probably lost a year of my life watching it because I am just an anxious person. But I had a good time.
That's all that matters. You did lose a year of your life. I watched it, and I watched it. Leave your body. That is Cop's girlfriend a career? I don't know. But I do know in the sequel, she says that she left Jack because he was in such a dangerous field. But then her new boyfriend is also a cop. So
Plot holes.
girl's got a type.
She's got a type.
And maybe he's like a beat cop, he just walks around. He's like a traffic cop kind of thing. I don't know, but
Traffic cop.
who knows? I don't know. Watch Speed 2 or don't. I don't give a shit. I gave it a 3 as well. I think I wanted to give it so much higher, but I just couldn't. I just felt myself not, I don't know, not being blown away with it as much as I used to be. Because we used to watch this movie a lot as a family, which is crazy.
Yeah. It's
But-
action. It's fun for the whole family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had its funny parts. So, well, I think that's all I've got. Unless Spencer finds another thing that I missed, which is completely possible. It's the documentary kind of threw me off of my topics and everything from last week, and I just copied and pasted from that. So, my bad, guys. Other than that, thank you, Alyssa. Thank you for joining me. She just got back, everybody, from a trip, so she is dog tired and hating her life right now. But we're gonna get her out of here in no time. Have you watched anything recently that you really liked or enjoyed?
Not a ton. I did watch the movie 50/50 per your recommendation, and I do recommend it. I thought it was great. It is Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Seth Rogen doing fun. I mean, they're being silly, but Joseph Gordon-Levitt finds out he has cancer, like a very rare type of cancer, and it's him dealing with that. And it's based on a true story. But it was very heartwarming and funny, but also a tearjerker. Anna Kendrick's also in it, who I love dearly. So
Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Anna Kendrick, both people you've mentioned today. So
yes, both people that I enjoy seeing them in movies.
nice. Anything else that you've watched, read, listened to?
No, I haven't read in a minute, unfortunately.
That's okay.
I was on a bachelorette trip this weekend, and we referenced the movie Bridesmaids a lot. So, but I was reminded how funny that movie is and how quotable it is. And it was mostly that whenever someone took a sip of an alcoholic beverage, they'd go, "Shit, that's fresh." So that's a fun one if you haven't seen it. That's all I got.
Okay. Well, I went on a little movie rampage this weekend. So I watched on my flight back, I watched the movie Vacation, which I think is the new Vacation with Ed Helms, where they're trying to reboot the franchise. I think that movie's way funnier than a lot of people. I watched Jim Henson's Idea Man, that documentary about Jim Henson on Disney Plus. Really great. Social Network I watched.
Your favorite?
Love that movie. One of my favorite movies of all time. I also watched Dazed and Confused, another one of my favorite movies of all time. And then I watched a movie in the heart of Speed. This one was called Go. And it's it's a movie kind of in the same vein as like Pulp Fiction, but for 1999. It's like the end of the Gen X generation kids. and it's about like drugs and Vegas and ecstasy and raves and all these fun things. I love that movie. Katie Holmes is in that movie. If you're a Katie Holmes person, Timothy Oliphant's in that movie, as grungy as ever, and he's amazing in that. So that's what I did. I watched some two new movies as well, called In a Violent Nature and The Watchers, and I was a little underwhelmed by both of those. So sorry to anybody that likes those, but that's all I've watched. That's a lot of stuff. I didn't even include everything else.
That's okay.
That's fine. How about the new Planet of the Apes? I enjoyed the first 3, and those were cool. The new Planet of the I haven't seen it. I've wanted to watch the new Planet of the Apes movie. I like the first 2 of the new series of them.
Watched the original, didn't you?
I did watch. I watched the original one recently, and was kind of surprised that was pretty fun. So I don't know. I haven't checked it out. I've never watched the movie Rampage. I'll tell you that. Other than that, I think that's everything that I've got today. So, chat, you've been wonderful as always, and I love you all very much. Thank you for any new subscriptions that we have to this, and any new bits and everything. I really do appreciate anything that you all are doing. Next week is Father's Day weekend, so call your dads, tell them that you love them. Get them a card, do something. So that means we're not going to be on next Sunday. We are going to be on next Monday, though. So look for that Monday. And that Monday, I'll probably be at 6 o'clock Eastern time to give some of our friends in other time zones some time off. But we're going to be talking about Clear and Present Danger next week. That's a Harrison Ford, Jack Ryan movie. I have never seen a Jack Ryan movie, so we're going to check that out next week. So, and I think it's streaming on VOD. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere right now. So do check that out. And if you're new here, check out all the social media places that we have here, and follow us on Discord. Get involved in Discord. We're trying to get some of that started and get some more people involved. So thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time on 52/1994.